and after this battle, we will decide who's the winner. Okay, and I would like to present to you the current battle, the title. Just imagine that we are in 2050 and we are in Detroit City. Okay, the Detroit City, they have a system that calls a Robocops, which is a policeman, but he's not a man, he's a robot. Okay, but according to the USA system and the USA government, they will decide if they will use the Robocops for the entire USA or will just discard the idea. So welcome to the future, and I hope you will enjoy it with this battle.
Great. We're going to give you the scenario.
I will. Let me continue. The first team of the battle is the person who's with the privacy. So they will stand with discarding the idea because they will lack the privacy.
No,
The first
is
we
security.
start security.
Okay.
But
I'll start with
the idea is that the Robocops,
So what?
the Robocops can act fast and help to enforce the law in a scenario of really insecurity and with a lot of criminality. And Robocop can act fast and enforce the law in a really strict way, while normal policemen couldn't do it. But at the cost that arrive from how the Robocop can do that is because the person with their smartphone and all their sensors that they will have in their future in the future will send the data to the city, and the city will use those data to alert the Robocop in real time to act, because we can do it with all this machine learning new thing, big data new thing that can help to enact the law in a real time way, right when the crime is committed or even a moment before. So this is the scenario. The fact is that this is a problem from one side for the privacy of the people, because the people, the person and the citizens of Detroit don't have the control on their own data. At the same time, they are more secure, because in 2050 the problem of criminality is really dropped after the Robocop. So the two teams will discuss if the
you missed the point where data also goes to the third company party.
Yeah, exactly. The fact is that the data the data sent to the city could be used for other purpose by third party companies. So this is the problem with the privacy. But at the same time, there is security in the city. So the idea is it's more important, the security of the people in the city, and to extend it to all the US, or the privacy, and so to discard the Robocop and erase the data of the people and make it more secure. So I will leave the floor to the security.
For starting, I will show you a brief video. Welcome to the future. This is our team. I will try to show you how security can improve your lives. And I will start by showing you our point of view of the scenario. On one side, we have our new system that we tested this last year in Detroit that has been proven to be very effective against every kind of crimes. So keep in mind, we are in 2050, and we have to decide if we should provide as a service to the whole US this kind of security. On the other side, what do we have? We have that we are giving up something because this service is not for free. We need something. What do we have? We have a strong data analytics system that allows us in real time to extract any kind of knowledge of what is happening around you. This is what enables the Robocops to be so effective in the first place. So, on the other hand, we have privacy. We are giving up something. But what is the value of privacy? Do we have privacy? How do we use privacy? So I'm proposing you a solution, the best we have right now, for the very important issue, which is the security issue we have in the US. What's our solution? Well, our solution is more effective and simpler than the traditional one. First of all, our Robocops are machines. They do not die. Police officers do, and badly. So these are a lot of human lives saved. Then what do we have? Robocops do not have typically human stereotypes or biases. They just apply the law without any distinction within the gender or the ethnicity of the people involved in the action. They are able to act in advance. From the data stream, we are able to identify where potential dangerous situations are going to happen. And our Robocop will go there in advance. So we can avoid a lot of criminal acts or incidents to happen in the first place. This cannot be done by a human. As I already said, there is a drawback. The drawback is that every citizen will have to give up something, his data. My point is, why should he do that? One important point is that from data, businesses can infer a lot of things. Think, for example, of the medical health system. One of the major problems when finding some issue you have in your body or something is based on past experience. If we have data for all these people, we can do that in a better way, and you have most likely a better life. And think about how much data we use for any kind of purposes, for example in research. What kind of new researches will be enabled by this kind of system? How many lives will we improve or save by using this data to improve everyone's lives? So your experience goes to the advantage of the community. So we have a choice. And as scientists, I believe that we do basically one thing when we have a choice. We evaluate the possibilities. What do I mean by that? We estimate a benefit for all the possible choices we can make, and we basically go with the one which has the highest benefit. What are the benefits of our system? Security, of course. What does it mean to have security? It means that, for example, children could grow up in a more independent environment, so develop in their own way. And this implies that, for example, parents will have much time for themselves. Another point, as I already said, is the health issue. Another one is even the research. All the application we could have if we manage to get this data. Another point is that our system doesn't cost money to the citizens. Why? As we said in the scenario, we are selling data to private businesses. Why? First of all, they are the companies who perform the research on this data. It's not done by the city council. In the second place, by acquiring this data, we can pay for the robots and we can provide this service with no additional cost to the citizens. What does it mean? It means that this system is not for few people that have the money. It's for everyone, and is the same for everyone. So this system improves equality in our society. On the other side, what do we have? We have privacy. How do we use that? This is a website. There is on the darknet, as you would call it, which someone is exploiting the fact that we cannot know who he is in order to provide criminal services for money, basically. On the other side, I guess you know these two guys, Snowden and Greenwald. Anyone? And one was a former employee of NSA, and if you trust him, he said that NSA was basically spying on everyone of United States citizens and not. So what's my point here? I'm saying that privacy is indeed valuable, but the problem is how do we use it? And is this really something that we want to keep and renounce at all the possibilities I said before? Think, for example, security in 2070 with all the terrorism and all the kind of things. How many lives would have been saved? So, the scale. How much do you value privacy and how much do you value security in all their aspects? Then I would like to point out something. Our system, the security system with all the data collection, the selling the data to the companies, is accessible only from within Detroit. This means that if someone is accessing your data, he is in Detroit. Why is this important? Because if he is in Detroit, the robots are able to go there if he's gonna do something bad. So I'm gonna show you now another video which shows a starting point, because our technology, we are not come from the sky. We started from somewhere and a long time ago. This is 2017.
How can I help you? Welcome, sir. Really precise. Goodbye is everything, unless you will never going to see him again.
Well, I think you get the point. We have gone a long way from this, but this is for showing that there has been a lot of effort in developing this, and right now it's the best solution we have to the security problem that costs a lot of lives every year. So thank you very much.
Without having done anything. Have you ever had the feeling of being watched from somebody? Dear audience, my name is Alex, and as a representative of the International Privacy and Civil Rights Association, I'm here to tell you to wake up and open your eyes to the reality. We all know that 1 year now that a new security program of the Detroit government started, based on massive gathering and sale of data of every citizen in the city. This data is provided to robots which should ensure security and enforce the law to prevent crime. So why are we here? We are here to make you believe that it is important to stop the expansion of this program within the whole United States of America. Please go on. First of all, what is privacy and how is it even defined? Well, privacy is the right to be free from secret surveillance and to determine everything about one's personal data. The first publication who mentioned privacy as the right to be alone was The Right to Privacy, written by jurists Samuel D. Warren and Louis Brandeis in 1890. As you can see now in 2050, it's almost a two centuries old concept that somehow have lost its importance during the last decades. But the privacy thing is also stated explicitly in the Article 12 of 1948 Universal Declaration of Human Rights, as you can see on the slide. So let me ask you one little question. How would you feel if you know somebody's watching you? I'm sure every one of you has some moments in his life that they would call private. Moments of important matters of your studies, of your work. Moments that are intimate for yourself and for your family. So I'm sure knowing that somebody's watching you will awake a sense of anger or shame or humiliation if they were public. Just imagine you're withdrawing money at the ATM and you're being watched. Just imagine you're having a shower, maybe singing, and you're being watched. Just imagine you're with your partner, having an argument, having a romantic dinner, or having an intimate moment. You're being watched. Are you really okay with that? There are some common assumptions that are grown among this debate. The first one is only bad people have the right, only bad people have reason to hide their privacy. Well, in the first moment, you could agree with this. I've not done anything wrong, so what's the problem if they monitor me? But yeah, assume you're a journalist, an activist, or some kind of consultant. You would like to have your data private and you would stand for your privacy because you don't want unwanted eyes on your works and you don't want them to be published. So I think that's clear for everyone. The second is, I don't care if I'm being watched. Yeah, well, first of all, I bet that what I said here now already make you feel a bit uncomfortable with the thinking of being constantly watched. And if not, I bet everyone uses passwords to lock your devices or for all your accounts. So even if some people don't want to admit they actually care about privacy, in deep they do. And if you actually don't care, you can just leave me all your password from your accounts after the battle. I'd be okay with that. Please. So let's take a look on the actual problems this program would bring to the society. The first one, unemployment. Why, you ask? Well, if we let robots do the people's job, it will create a large amount of unemployment for the city and for the whole country if we expand it. Okay, it's stated that not the whole police is going to be replaced by robots, but a huge part will. Just consider New York City. In New York City, there are over 50,000 people working for the police department. And even if not every one of them will lose his job, it's still a great large number of people. So unemployment is one of the best indicators of the health of society and economy. If the economy goes wrong, general frustration due to the loss of income will spread among the people. If people with low income are more incentive to commit crime in opposing to the ones with a stable income. And if the unemployment grows, then there are more incentive to commit crimes. Yes, we have seen that in 1 year the crime rate lowered, but it's just 1 year. And if we expand this program to the whole USA, we could just end up masking the real problem and obtain an opposite result. So who knows? Within the system, you will end up living in a so-called glass prison. Mass surveillance strongly affects people's minds and how they behave in their normal life. People will feel like being in a mental prison from which you cannot escape and in which you feel guilty even if you are innocent, because you are constantly being watched and took under control, because you may be a criminal in their eyes. What I say is that we don't have to give up and rely on machines. Instead, we should improve the economical system, improve the education, educate our children to a peaceful life, and just gain hope in humanity back instead of in machines. And there are some other issues coming with that. In 1 year, as I said, the crime has lowered. Okay, but it's just 1 year, and I'm kind of sure that criminals will find a way or another to avoid the new security measures. So technology is improving for criminals as well. There are already many technological crimes targeted to technological software or machines, and this could also end up by creating new forms of crime, and I'm sure that we don't want new forms of crime in our society. And the last point that is really important in the matter of new ways of crime is that if the private company has the right to do anything they want with the data, who will stop a criminal to go and buy the data? So let's take just a random example. A couple breaks up and the man goes mad and he decides to stalk her ex-girlfriend. So he can just go to the company, buy the data of the girl, analyze it, and find the right moment to strike. And yeah, I'm not going too much into detail, but just imagine the data is available to anyone who wants to buy it if the company decides to sell it. And yeah, talking of which, how can we put trust into these private companies who manage the data? They could publish it, they could speculate on it, or they could even sell it to anyone, like I said, to criminals, for example. And last but not least, the tourism has also to be taken in consideration. How would tourists react to this matter? If we expand to the whole US, everyone who is not a US living person which comes as a tourist will be hard to believe that he feels safe in this case, and you cannot apply this system to a foreign person. So I think it will be a negative outcome in the implementation, and it could also lead to more gaps in the economy and to more unemployment if the tourism breaks down. But we are not that kind of company that just stands still. I don't want this solution, I'm just against it, and I'm not proposing anything. Here we have some suggestions under which we think we can come to a compromise, because we just think that those measures are exaggerated and are not really needed. We think that privacy and security should find a balance. First, let people decide if and what data to get collected from them, because that's the first and most big violation of the human rights. Second, collect only the specific data which is actually needed. You don't need to know when everyone in the city goes to the bathroom, or when is with his girlfriend or with his kids or anything. You just could use advanced algorithms of text comprehension or computer vision or whatever to just analyze the data without extracting private information from it, without storing it, and at last, without selling the data to a private company, which is all but secure and totally unacceptable. A wise man once wrote a romance, and another one said, 1984 was supposed to be a warning, not an instruction manual. So keep that in mind, and thanks for your attention.
Do you have something to say after their presentation?
So you pointed out unemployment issue. We are not new to that argument. Every time there is a new technology, a shift in the market, there are these issues, are real. But there is always have been a solution to that, because we just do not make a lot of unemployed, but we need factories to create these robots. We need people to maintain the system, so we do create work. So I think it's quite the opposite of what you said. Second issue. You talked a lot about a criminal that gets access to this data. Data by itself never harmed anyone. So, go on. The criminal gets your data, for example, my data, and then?
Yeah, the data includes all my habits and everywhere I go every day. So if somebody targeted me, he could just find the right moment where he knows I'm alone, or I'm vulnerable, or I'm out of my house, and act. And your Robocops do not have teleport. So if he goes mad and finds me and shoots me, okay, Robocop will come after 5 minutes of maybe the tragedy to come there, but it's unable to stop the crime, and thanks to the data, he could find me.
So you're basically saying he's doing something illegal, right?
Yeah.
So you have in mind some kind of cyber criminal that performs these bad actions. But he must be in Detroit. We have data about him. We know he's actively searching about your person. We know that. And the robot, when he is gonna act, or when the moment he oversteps and performs an illegal action, the robot is already there.
There are no teleports, so he cannot be there like in a second.
But it's not like in the movies.
I'm
In
not
order
saying
to
that.
carry out this stuff, he has to do some research.
So it means
And
that
from the general pattern, this is quite evident. A person that really focuses his attention
No,
on
if
another
he got
guy.
mad. He just got mad. He just, I don't know, something went wrong. He's in a bad
He's-
mood and he just kills somebody. The robot can't be there. He can't teleport like this.
What about the
What-
sensors that implementing and the person who's willing to kill the person, the other one?
It's still 1 second. You
No.
know, 1 second
Well,
you decide to do it, the second
I
you
have
just do
2 or
it.
3 points about
The
that.
scenario that he said, the scenario that he said is planning to discover a vulnerability or discover something, a weaknesses.
Okay.
That means the person who's willing to kill, he knows he will to kill. That means the data will be collected about him and he will be arrested.
Please let me go.
Okay.
Let
Okay.
me.
Ne-
Sorry, I had to finish my.
I got your question. I will answer that. So you want to say that people will think before doing any crime. So even today,
I'm not saying that. In most of the cases, yes.
Okay.
When you have to do something really big, you have to plan. It does not happen to have an atomic bomb under your seat.
of course.
okay.
Then there are some crimes that are, as you said, I just go out, take my car, and kill a lot of people. But I think this is a manifestation of some internal issue, psychological issue, that we started to study at the beginning of the 21st century, and I think we could have really better means to identify it. And robots have the capability. We can place robots in order closer to people that are, kind of dangerous, or they are more likely to commit this action. As another point,
Let me answer that one first.
Let
Come
me
on.
finish the
Yeah.
statement.
Let
I
him
have to
answer
finish the
first.
Okay,
statement
so
Okay.
on the middle.
1 minute. 10
On the
seconds.
other hand, you are attacking the robots that could not teleport. But what's the alternative? The alternative is having a human police officer that, if he's there, he's probably gonna die, and humans don't have teleport too. So, what's the difference? At least we can do something, we can avoid most of them.
Okay, so your point was, so you said that like there is a problem in your idea, which is like when you are tracking a group, a criminal, like organized criminal activity, the Robocops can easily track that. But if an individual want to do any harm to someone, not only someone, we have seen in the recent history that an individual can end up doing a big harm to like so many people. So that cannot be stopped by your system.
Yeah, but this is not caused by our system. How is
No,
this
it's not
caused?
caused. We are talking about your security. We are providing security to people that they will be more secure and everything. And then we talk about individual crimes.
Yeah, but
There is no
what other
solution.
system are
We
you
don't have any
proposing to avoid
solution.
that? Because we are really
But-
avoiding the
Okay,
majority
so
of the crime.
okay, so I will answer that. Even today, we don't have much privacy and all that. And Snowden, you gave that example. He published a paper that from CIA that they are watching everybody. So even today, America is like they are tracking our calls and everything, and they have successfully. Okay, they have successfully kind of stopped the organized crime, because in the recent decade we have seen that like terrorists and every terrorist activities, individuals have done more damage, like not organized crimes. So like still the crime rate has gone up.
You are
it means
probably
that-
thinking about ISIS. Okay, so.
Wait, okay. So the point are that for you, for the privacy group, so the security group, the solution is the best solution possible. I mean, it's not that solve 100% of the case, but
Well,
it's
we are talking about
it's
a 99%.
Yeah, it's better than all the other alternatives. And
I
they're
don't
asking you what are the other alternatives. Basically, this was your one of your last points.
I don't
Why-
agree the point that it have improved, because I'm saying that even today the law system have gone like so good without any robocops anything, that they can able to track like group activities and group criminal activities, but still they are not.
But we are in 2050. Remember, we are in 2050.
Okay. like 30 years ago.
Just stick to this.
Sorry, I didn't get your point.
So I meant to say that group criminal activities was able to track by law like 30 years ago.
Well,
we're talking about
how
Brooklyn.
effective are we in tracking, for example, mafia or that kind of organized crime?
It depends on the
in
country.
2007?
It depends on the country. I mean, if you are talking about the Middle East or the countries where the law agencies are not so advanced, okay,
Yeah.
there are like less chances.
Yeah, but
the countries
even in
where
the US, which is carried as the most advanced country, there are
Yeah.
a lot of problems of this kind.
But okay, for the simple, significant change of the crime rate event law, we are not willing to give away our privacy.
But it's not only
It's,
that.
it's
It's all of
only
my
a-
presentation.
It's only.
For example, I had a lot of questions on your slides that maybe I keep from.
The one problem is the fact that a criminal can find other way to avoid your security system.
Yeah, but that's like, a criminal can break my door, so I leave it open. That's basically your point. To me, I close the door.
We have put some point to increase the privacy and maintaining the security.
I was going to that. Thank you. Then,
Wait, let's see if there are some questions over there.
Work with the audience.
Then
can I answer his question that is now so that
No, you
I do
can
not have to
continue for
bring it.
later. I mean, because I think that
Right,
there's some
please.
other comment on that.
Thank you.
Do you have something to say? Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Alex, you mentioned something about you mentioned
You can stand.
If you need this map.
being intimidated, and if you're being watched, why would you feel intimidated?
Yeah. How would you feel if you're taking a shower and you know somebody private just looks at you?
Do you feel intimidated in public places, like now here in the university? There's cameras
No,
everywhere,
but
like in
I
the airport.
am in a public place and I'm here. I know I'm here. I know you're watching, and I'm dressed up.
It's not private, like it's not being private. Yeah, I'm not sitting here just looking at you showering or something, right? I mean, if you're not doing something wrong, I don't see the point of you feeling intimidated.
But you will
Well,
be afraid. You will be afraid even
what?
doing the okay. You will be afraid even performing your daily task like okay. So but if I'm like I always I never buy any software from any legal website. I always like use torrent and everything. I will be afraid. Okay. So if I use torrent, maybe they come to know and they catch me.
So maybe
you,
also
like
the
it's a
little
simple
things.
task.
Also the little things you may feel like a criminal. Secure for sure more than now. Also, if you just download an illegal song and
Are you sure that this
This
part
is not
isn't
an
really
illegal
binded
crime.
to the actual culture we have now?
Yeah.
Because
Okay.
You are assuming that, and it's not a fair assumption.
Perfect.
the main point is in
Wait, wait, wait.
private moments. If you just
Let's take some question before answering.
I have a lot of things, so I
Alright
have
then.
written. I'm going to say them very short and very quick. First of all, they said that their system would actually be there and they would have kind of prevent the crime. First, they cannot because there is always a first time that your system lacking this. The other thing is that he said that the data does not harm anyone by itself, but when a person wants to rob a bank, he just don't take the cover on his head and go to the bank and say, you know what, I want to rob you today. He thinks, he plans, he finds the weak points of the bank, he finds the weaknesses of the security, and your data would bring the potential for him to do a better research and to find a better points to act.
I have a very short
The
answer.
third thing that I want to mention, and beyond these arguments being mentioned by now, that policemen are not just police, they're men as well. So there are points in your life that you should break some laws because of other priorities. And the policemen, it happened to me with driving police. I had to do some breaking law, and the policeman then he came and he shouted at me why I did this. When I explained him the situation, because he had the same feeling and passion and these things as a human, he understood me and he even helped me to get out of that situation. But your robots do not have these things, and if I break the law, they would say, okay, because they don't have any feelings. They are only programs. And the program, although it may malfunction, but even if it functions well, at some points, he is not going to understand my problem and act very exaggerated.
Okay, perfect.
Please.
We collect some other, because there were some other comments and one over there I saw. Okay.
May I add something?
No.
I have two questions. It seems I didn't prepare this model, so I don't know the details of how is data collected. So
The data are sent to the server of the city.
yeah, but I mean
Sensors throughout the whole city, and sensor on the person, which is the smartphone, for example, and stuff
yeah,
like
but
that.
the thing is, there's something that sends everything that I see, everything that I
No, it's not
No,
attached to your body. It's something external. It's not attached to your body.
Sensor in the city, we saw cameras and other kind of sensor around, and sensor on your smartphone, or if
In
you have
the
other kind
scenario
of
there
sensor that you wear normally.
This
So
kind
wearables,
this kind
all
of
this kind of
personal
stuff.
data, is it I don't know anonymized in
No.
some way? I mean, if
No.
the thing is that if
There isn't your name attached to the data, but they can reconstruct
Okay,
it.
but the thing is that if the security team develops this kind of for Robocop, and this data that they sell to the company is anonymized, for example, just to I don't know. If they say people one, person one was there, and person two was there, and there. It cannot be used for stalking purposes or whatever. My question is it anonymized or is it?
Is it anonymized in theory, but the amount of data that you can't have can help to understand who the people are.
And this implies a lot of work in order to get from the data to the actual person.
Yeah, and
you
the
have
thing
to
is that
do analysis,
how,
strong analysis.
since you will get a huge amount of data, how are you gonna process it in an efficient way?
This is in the scenario.
In the scenario, suppose that there are machine learning and all the technology from now to 30 years that could.
And in the scenario, there is the fact that Robocops are effective. This is in the scenario.
Okay,
so for example, the fact that the Robocop breaks is in the scenario, is an assumption of our battle.
So the thing is, because one of my thoughts was,
or malfunction.
What if I use some private dictionary to communicate with others, so the Robocops see meaningless communication? So if it's not in the scenario, I will not bring it.
Yeah. Okay.
Is there
No, first you and then the other.
Is there a way that the state government or the public interest can control and see what their company do with this data?
No. Not at the moment.
The only way of controlling is law. If they do something which is illegal, robots are gonna do something about it. So they have to respect the law. That is the only boundary.
So actually, just the robots elaborate the data, and in some kind of algorithm they decide if something is wrong or good.
This is the scenario.
It's not.
Yeah.
I mean, so if it's only the artificial intelligence elaborating this data, there's no interest in what actually people are doing or the facts. They just see events, and so it shouldn't bother people about their privacy. The fact it becomes irrelevant when there are people, human, behind these computers, and they can see naked women or whatever. They can just enjoy this data, but no one's going to control them.
Yeah, they can, because as a suggestion,
you have to pay a lot of money to get the data.
Yes,
I mean,
of course, but that's not a
Probably your girlfriend has not that amount of money.
You can never know.
No, I don't know, but basically.
The fact is, she can do it. And our suggestion was to avoid storing and using too much amount of data, because some algorithms could just use the data without showing, like our friend said, the naked woman to a person under his PC. The computer, the machine could just process without having the data given to.
When I get the chance, I will answer to you on that.
Okay. Wait, there is first thing.
I know there are international human rights legislation concerning privacy. So I want to know how, if there are robots are going to operate outside the scope of these legislations, or it's regardless of these legislations. And secondly, we've watched movies where enemies have taken over robots. So I want to know the kind of security defense they have against such attempts.
Sorry, I didn't get your point.
I mean,
like I can also kill a robot. I mean, like exhaustive machine. You can break it.
But people, enemies taking over robots.
No,
hacking robots.
Yeah, you are thinking about some citizen that organize against the robots.
No, it's all about hacking.
Hacking the robots.
It's not possible.
Okay, that's in my presentation. As I said, it's not like in the movies. If you want to hack a system, you have to do a lot of research, a lot of trial and errors. And you know, this is easily detectable. It was easily detectable in 2007. So I'm gonna know exactly where you are, who you are, and everything. The exact moment when you try to break the law, there is already there a robot.
Can you say something?
Okay, and for the first question,
with the other
human rights legislation concerning privacy.
I didn't really. If you can elaborate a little
Yeah,
bit.
like there are international legislations concerning privacy. So are your robots going to operate outside that scope? Or?
Yeah. For the in this scenario, well, you're thinking of a scenario of crisis where you need to act and do something because the city of Detroit in 2049 is really a mess. So they decide to don't care about at the beginning. Then 1 year later they said, okay, what we're gonna do? We continue and expand it, or we just cut it. I think there is question there. Okay.
I've got 2 questions. The first one is, okay, I can't hack your robot, but I can build a robot that looks like yours and put it on the street, and while your robot kill people just to...
Well, you have to program that robot. You have to program the robot to break the law. And this is, to me, quite illegal. So robots are going to stop it.
Okay, and what if I do something that it's illegal, but it's, I mean...
Well, is it illegal or legal?
Illegal, not legal.
Okay.
Like, it's, I know it's a fake...
What?
Let's guess, there's an orphanage on fire.
Okay.
There is a truck full of fire extinguisher, and I steal the fire extinguisher to stop the fire on the orphanage.
Well, it's not something illegal because there are persons which their job is to do that.
Yes, but
and probably if the orphanage respects the rules, there are fire extinguishers in the orphanage. So you should use them.
Okay, yeah.
Which is faster than going to another building, steal them, and go back to the building which is on fire.
But I mean, it's,
there are all security measures in place now to do that, which are close to the building, not far away.
You don't get her point.
An ethical matter.
Yeah.
Like, for example, while driving car,
Yeah.
we choose to go and kill
Well, that's,
one
we are
people
talking
or
about
5 people.
the law. So this is not a matter of our system.
And
This is
the
a
law is
matter of how the law is defined. So how do this relate to our system? This is a problem of the legislator, which builds the law, that should or not allow this kind of behavior. It does not concern our system.
Okay.
From my perspective,
last question, and we start to.
I was wondering
your 3 answers.
No, wait.
I was wondering if you can actually enforce this system on everyone, because let's say that we have 5% of the population that is against it. And since buying a gun is legal, and pointing a gun to my friend is still legal, as a protest, we could just meet in a park every evening and point guns to each other and trigger your system into thinking that the 5% of the population is made of criminals. And all the robots will be, and most of your resources will end up being used for nothing. So we would actually disrupt your system, but just by having a tiny chunk of the population being against it.
Well, this is a tricky question because it really depends on the capability of the system to really get an understanding of what you are doing. And this is kind of in the scenario, because in the scenario we said that we basically can extract any kind of knowledge from the data we collect. So I can argue you that the system is able to learn that you are doing this kind of stuff. And however, remember my presentation, I'm not saying that privacy is not valuable. I'm saying that everyone should know that he is giving up something, his data, to get a lot of things.
But
you get the safety, you get the research, and the research in every field. This means better healthcare, better technologies, better cultivations, whatever.
I agree.
Okay. I think they have some point on that. And also to answer some questions that the privacy team.
No, it's just back to the matter that Laura mentioned. you didn't get the real point of what she was saying. The robots just enforce the law. So if I'm driving too fast, the robot stops me. But if I'm driving too fast because my friend is dying and I'm bringing him to the hospital, the robot stops me and
That's a
my friend
problem
dies.
of the legislation. Maybe you don't get
So you
my
can
point.
get the parameter. Okay, he can drive fast if his friend is dying. but
For
you-
example, there is
wait.
studies now.
She has something to say.
Okay, I have so many questions about your group. Okay, the first one is that Alex said technique increase crime. Yeah, it's a fact in real life. But what do you do about to decrease the crime? We create a system to avoid the crimes and to improve the security of everybody. But what do? You hide the privacy of everybody since you think it's your right to do it. And it's my question is that we use technique to beat technique crimes. And there is an example about in England a man called Etanic who has an HIV, but he had his privacy. So everybody else, like 15% suffered by this fact. So I mean, security for a part of them, it's a security, it's a privacy, but for others, it's a protection. I think it's very clear. Okay.
Okay, I will answer you on that. What we can do to improve our security. There are other solutions, like in the countries which are not so well. They have like economic problem, they have education problem. So the crime rate is also high there. And the other countries which are more well, they have good economy, they have good law and everything. So compared to those countries, they have like lower crime rate. So by improving our economy, improving our education, educating people more about how they should improve their lifestyle and everything, we can improve our security better. I mean, it's too much high cost to give away our privacy to get like a small quantity of security.
Okay.
Not only a small
Wait.
I really want to say something about your opinion since it's really interesting for me. Okay, in my opinion, USA is more developed than China. But how about the crime? The crime rate, I mean, is there law? No, actually, not. Like on December, on last month, there is a attack about a gun attack. You know it.
So that was an individual person crime.
Yeah.
So we are talking about even
but
your
what's the
Robocop cannot
development
stop
of
that.
the economic? There's no difference about
Your system also cannot stop that.
Yeah. Why we also system can't stop it?
So we have to come up with some other new system because your system cannot stop that because they cannot find out if some individual wanted to because it
Please approve why our system can't approve it.
Like our friend said, owning a gun is
and
legal.
your friend?
No, I'm saying our colleague.
Yeah.
Owning a gun is legal. Pointing the gun on my friend is still legal. So there's no robot around. I shoot, he's dead, then the robot comes. So it didn't
I
preserve
already said that this is an issue about the legislation.
Yeah, okay.
And we can do a lot of inference about if you are gonna shoot or if you're not.
Okay, all right.
So we can go on talking about this a lot of time.
No,
I think
really,
it's quite
because
pointless
we
because we
could
made
make
clear our
the guns.
positions.
We could make guns illegal, and I'm okay with that. But if I'm a cook in a restaurant, I have a knife. You can't say having a knife is illegal.
We are going back to maybe the fourth part of our discussion, where I was saying I acknowledge that there are some facts that we cannot prevent.
Yeah, you're right.
But
we're going back.
tell me, how can we? How can we prevent someone if I decide to punch him in the face? How can you or someone else prevent me to do that?
No,
if I give you no signal about it a priori.
We said we are going into compromise under some circumstances.
I have still to ask the last point of the first.
He has a point to make.
Let me say something.
It's 15 minutes.
I just read an article last 2 days, which is a Chinese university. They invented something which is very strange to me actually. they put a table with a ADSL router, Wi-Fi router, and they put 5 people on the table, just talk, and they just tell them just talk about anything, okay? The researchers were able to listen, to understand and listen real time what they are talking about using the router. Okay,
Yeah,
it's a
good.
very, very strange research article.
And then please
Look,
implement an algorithm who automatically sees if there's something wrong and not a person who.
Let me say something. This research article, according to my vision, is a good or very dangerous thing against the privacy, because we can exploit, or we can hack your privacy using anything provided, using anything in your room or in your pocket. Okay, so I would like to say another thing, which is the sensors that we are going to use. Just imagine, you said that you are in your washing room, you are taking a shower, and you have some privacy, and you will not allow anyone else to wash you're going to make a shower. So it's your problem, because you are putting a camera in your
I'm forced to do that.
Let me say something. Let me say something. You're not forced, because there's two kinds of sensors. The sensor number one is the biometrical, the bioinformation sensors, which is some kind of smartwatches, some kind of your mobile phone, and another things. The other sensors are public sensors, which are the cameras and something like that. The public sensors will not be held in your washing room or in your sleeping room.
Abdullah, it was a metaphor. Metaphor, it was not an assumption.
No,
it was
no.
just an example. How would you feel
Yeah,
somebody? How
yeah.
would you feel? It was an assumption.
I know that. It's assumption.
We know
But I would like to
the
say
camera is not going to be implemented.
your assumption actually give me a sign that you don't have any idea about the sensors.
Yeah, but nobody has.
Yeah, I'm explaining that.
Yeah.
So I mean,
so let me continue.
No, I mean, just to wrap up before.
According to Mahid, question or assumption, which is the person who's a police cop, he will understand your situation and say, "Let's you go." So according to our system, which contains AI, machine learning, and something like that, actually the main idea of using these things just to make the Robocop as a human behavior, to think as a human. So he will understand your situation, and you say to you, let it go, because you have
It's a very deep ethical, I would
Wait.
say, question.
Wait, I mean, okay. So your main point is that there are sensors, so that already harm our privacy. So we can have a central kind of system that use this data to increase security.
Another
Wait. At the same time, you think that the mission that Robocop should have is also to enforce the law, but with a human touch.
There will be a human touch because of the sensors, because of the data that.
Now, with a human sensibility, let's say. So,
Let's say so.
not as a machine. I think that is more or less out of the scenario, this part, because we discussed that the scenario was more on the enforcement of the law as it is. So a real, let's say, in the realm of the possibility to program robots that have some rules that are the law, which is now actually currently available. So, and with the possibility that comes from the law. So, but the law is there. There's no possibility to make an exception, let's say, as a person could do. So this is the scenario. So
the
this part.
So the situation will be. I think the title will be law against the humanity. It's not the privacy against the security.
No. As has been said, no. But okay.
So Alex was saying one question, saying that there's an issue with tourists, right? So you said if the robocops are implemented, tourist might face, he might find some difficulties, right?
Yeah.
So what are the difficulties he can find? So do you have any example?
Well, if the sensors and the system are implemented in the smartphones of every citizen, if a European comes, he is not under this system. So, okay, you cannot control his smartphone because he's outside of the system.
I can give
Maybe you can have maybe you can have less data.
Yeah, less data.
As simple as giving him one when he comes in.
Okay, yeah, and if that's the other part. So maybe he's not implementable, or if it is, I don't think that a tourist wants to come and have his vacation and concentrate.
There are some laws right now that some people cannot go to the US. If you are not going to comply with the law or some country, you simply cannot go there.
Exactly.
Yeah, so
it's as simple as that.
So good. Then USA loses tourists, loses money, unemployment.
But
and
improves everyone's life, conditional life, security, job employment, quality of the environment.
Okay, wait. Let's make a 10-minute break. Collect your question.
That's my point from the beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the answer to his question.
After the break. After the break. At 3:20 to let them answer some questions and let them take some points, and then you answer. Okay, so there are comments, questions.
Raise the voice, please.
One question is about the ethical part. For example, you have two buildings on fire, and you have to decide what is the one to save. You said that in the case of the machine, you cannot decide. It's an ethical question. And I would like to turn the question saying, what if about it's a person? It is better at deciding which building is to save. I mean, a person is better at deciding which one is to save in respect of a machine. And the other question is there real advantages on refusing advantages in not using robot but continuing on keeping your data private?
Okay, other comments?
I wanted to make a comment. It's really important the ethical part of it, because if I got things right, at the beginning we assumed that the legality of the situation, the scenario was assumed for granted, right? So the robot works and works better than it worked before, right?
Yeah.
So all these ethical questions about what would the robot do in this case or in this other case are out of the scenario, right? Or not?
Well,
because if it's granted that they work in every situation.
It's like 90%.
Okay. Another to them, then I will comment also this. No, from the from the people. Yeah.
What kind of private information do you want to hide? As you said, the bathroom example, it's still void.
It's not an example, it was a metaphor.
Assumption, fine, yeah, it was void, whatever. And the other bank details and blah, it's already known to the some of the other organization. All your details are somehow already known.
Yeah, but
it's not. There's nothing completely private, even now.
Yeah, but it's a little third parties.
Yeah. And I have a choice. I have a choice.
Okay, so about these comments about the ethical part, yes, the robot works. About the ethical, we can say that they're at the boundary of the ethical stuff, because I mean there is an ethical issues probably on that, but the robot works.
Okay, and
Can we like answer?
Yes, I think that you have some question to answer.
I want to just ask. You have still one answer from earlier, right? Can you?
Of them, I started to forget them. Sorry.
I want to ask
I remember yours. I remember.
Yeah, okay.
No, I wanted, if you want to say it now without getting into extra discussion, it was.
Well, it depends on the teacher.
Just give that and that because it's 1 hour ago already, and I think it's right that you give it to us now.
Thank you very much.
And then we would have some questions for you. So if you wanna say what you wanted to say earlier, please.
Thank you. So in your presentation, you said that you are in favor of some less radical solution about integrating more privacy and security. This is a great idea, but my point is, how do you do that? Because your proposal was, okay, we let citizens choose what kind of data they share, for example, and this kind of stuff. And we do not allow this data just stays in the city and is not sold to third-party companies. But the cost of robots and all this system is fully high. So how are you gonna pay for it? At the end, whatever solution, the country has one means of collecting money, which is from the citizens. And basically, this means less money. This means that all the problems you said about having citizens that cannot afford a good quality of life will be there.
Okay.
And another solution is going to be, okay, citizens that have the money pay for it and they have the service. This is a great source of inequality. Our solution, we sell data in order to have equality of all the people without asking them any money, and there is a profound reason because we do that, why we do that. And it's because this allows the research community, businesses, whatever, to develop better product that at the end improve a lot the quality of all the people.
Okay. Yeah, I figured you would come to this argument, so we wanted to keep this for the last part, and we would have some questions.
Yeah.
We still haven't.
There are also some questions that they answer to you now. If you want to answer, I mean.
Okay, we can
the other question.
Yes.
Yeah. Question of the girl over there will be answered by Anna already. We talked about it. And for the guy in the back, I didn't get the first point. So are you asking how the robots decide which building to save if two are on fire?
People are actually better at deciding which building is to save. Like, why people are better at deciding than robots. But that's a very ethical question, and I kind of don't know how to answer it.
And if there
because
are two buildings on
yes,
fire,
of course we make mistakes, but I think that from the ethical point of view, of course, it's better than the human decides than the robot, because the robot is a machine anyway.
I have a point on that.
Yeah, but
But we said before we have AI, we have machine learning. So
yeah, but we decided that they're not humans still.
Yeah, robots. They can decide on actual
so many
data.
movies on this, guys, seriously.
Yeah, they can decide on actual data. If you have a person that is probably gonna die the next year because he has a really serious heart disease, and the other has not, the human cannot know, the machine does.
Yeah, okay, but it's still not right.
Discriminative. It's a logical choice.
No, it's not a logical choice. We're still humans. We
It's
need
an
to
unhuman
preserve our
choice.
humanity, not to be like machines.
This is a matter of humanity, but what's the point? I mean, it's bad, I know, but you have to make a choice.
Yeah, of course.
So you have to make the better choice. What's the better? A person who already has
maybe in this 1 year,
a
this
hard
person
time
will
living,
save 100
or someone
another
who
person.
maybe
We don't
has
know.
the whole life in front of him.
No, but
it's
okay.
a harder choice
But
that
this
a
person
human
may be
will
better
probably
and
regret
have
for the
made
whole life.
opportunities.
Okay.
Yeah,
Now
can
I think you have some. Yeah.
We can answer another question. The second question was about what we are proposing. We are proposing that robots stay, but for example, we have an opportunity to decide whether we need to join the program or not. because now we seem to be forced into it. But we are going to say in the conclusion more about it. And for example, about the data being transferred to the third company. Okay, now I also have a lot of data transferred to another companies, but at least for now I understand what are they doing with this data.
Really?
And I give my agreement on this. Here I don't have a choice. I'm just forced into giving all of my data. I don't know what this company is going to do with this data. Who are they going to sell this data? Why are they doing this? So that's the problem. Okay, let us finish. Let us finish because we have.
We have more. Write down till or finish, please.
Yeah, and we have like questions for you because we didn't have an opportunity to ask you anything. And Vico, you mentioned that okay, some kind of we have a choice to join the program, but I mentioned before.
No, I never said you have a choice.
You have a slide that said we have a choice. A choice on what?
But as a community, not an individual.
Yeah, but
I said that in the scenario.
Can
we are
I
in
finish with my question and you
finish.
answer after that?
You are saying something I
Yeah.
didn't say.
Yeah. Because for me it seems like it's also violating my human right as a freedom of choice. So Eva mentioned before that we are violating the human rights of privacy, but also a freedom of choice. My second question, you thought, okay, you're creating new job opportunities, but can you imagine from a police officer or a judge or a lawyer maintaining robots? Seriously, he will not be able to do this. So all those people, okay, you can train some of them to do these jobs, but not all of them, and some of them will still be unemployed. What are they going to do? That's my second question. The third question, okay, right now robots are being controlled by the government and the company. But what if the government is corrupted? And we don't know that, because I don't think that robots will actually control the government itself, because the government is actually programming it. So it's also, it still have a human touch in this, so we are not excluding the opportunity of government being corrupted. That's also bad. And okay, you also mentioned that we can predict a person who can more likely to commit a crime. But what about presumption of innocence? So basically you're saying this person is going to kill somebody.
No.
But it's also
I'm not
violation.
saying that robots will be closer.
I'm done. I'm
They
done.
will
Now you
not
have to
get
answer
in your
all of
way.
them.
It's quite different. I'm not gonna arrest you before you do anything. I just make sure that if something happens, I can be there in the shortest time possible.
Yeah, but
That's
you
what I'm
basically
saying.
okay, but you still you're saying this person is more likely to commit a crime.
what
That's
do you
also
think it
discrimination,
happens,
and it's also
right now, for example, if there is a person which is considered dangerous, the police officer will be aware of this and will be watching closely.
yeah, he's been considered dangerous because he's done something bad in the past. But now we're talking about the person who is actually very good. He didn't do anything bad, but one day he just got mad. Like I don't know, it was a bad day for him. And you say you can predict this. So you're basically predicting that this person is going to be bad. So you're like saying
There is
he's
a more
guilty.
There is a higher probability. We are not considering him guilty of anything until he actually does something.
Okay, but what about my previous questions
Yeah.
about the jobs?
About the jobs.
So I have a point for employment. So what I say is, you said there will be a gap between the policemen. If the manufacturer of robots go on, there will be unemployment for police.
Not police only,
On
lawyers,
humans, probably.
judge, all the people who are
But
actually
in,
legal systems.
in other way around, you are giving jobs for the techniques. I mean the developers or the future engineers, right? They are the engineers who build, because you're giving
Yeah,
jobs to
of course, but
everyone.
But what about the people who were actually doing this for many
So
years?
they won't continue for a lifetime. They do a period like 50 years or 60 years period. So after that they'll retire. So up to that threshold we provide job. We are not leaving. It's not like so.
But what jobs will you provide them? Maintaining a robot? If the person was trained as a lawyer, he will not be able to maintain a robot.
Since he has the experience, the policeman has the experience in the city, right? We will just retain him because he knows everything. He is a person who advises the system, saying that in this
So
place.
you're basically going to pay for robots, and you're going to pay for police officers who are not doing
I
anything.
have
You are not
an
paying.
answer
You are not
to
paying.
this, because this issue is not strictly related to this particular innovation.
Why?
Because this happens every time
Yeah,
a big innovation is introduced in a culture
Yeah, of course.
or in an environment. So
But that's
you are
a
asking
very,
us
very,
to give
very
us
large
give you the
scale.
solution to integrate strong innovation in a community with no impact.
Yeah, maybe we
This
need to
is
start.
really hard. People haven't figured out how to do it, and you are asking us to do that like this.
No,
there
but
will
that's
be
actually
problems. There will be problems. We are not saying that, but why we refuse this just because some people will lose their job? They will.
We are not saying we need to
But
refuse,
we
we're
are
saying we
going
need to
to
compromise,
create
and you
a
don't want
lot
to
of better
compromise.
jobs because the police officer will not risk their lives going to stop some criminals.
Yeah.
They will have some better jobs.
But, okay.
In which
Okay,
they do
wait.
not risk their lives.
So there are also you made also some other two other questions, right? That
About the government being corrupt.
yeah, about the
Yeah,
corruption.
This is strictly related to what I was saying before there, which is well, if the government is corrupt, then why is this our fault?
No, nobody
Because
says it's
this
your
is-
fault.
we
They're
have
just
the
trying to-
democracy in order to elect people. We have all this system. If the government is corrupt, then the problem is about the legislation. You cannot expect a system which purpose is to
But if government
do
is
law
corrupt-
enforcement to solve
I mean,
corruption
that
of the
is the
government.
point of actually what the problems are you actually solving, because there are so many other problems related to the security that we are not solving, and we are concentrated on only one problem, very tiny, organized
Well,
crime.
it's quite big.
It's not
Security
that big.
issue is not tiny
not
problem,
tiny.
come on. You
Okay,
cannot
but
say
it's
that.
not that big, and we are still forgetting about all the other stuff, and you want us to
Yeah,
force
but
us to
the
just
fact that
join
there
this
are
problem.
many problems shouldn't stop us from solving at least one of them.
Yeah, of course, but let's compromise. The thing is,
Why?
let's compromise. Let's leave
And
half of
what
the
about
robots, half
police
of the
officers?
cops.
Aren't they compromised? I know from experience that there are some people that will never be indicted by police officers, and some others will. Well, you should know. But there are some orders that are given. For example, there is a big manifestation, something. The city council asks the police officer to not give tickets, for example.
What do you mean not to give tickets?
Multe, come si dice?
Bills.
Bills, sorry.
Ah, okay.
Is something that's done. Is this kind of... What do we do
Of course,
about
it
it?
goes
We have a
So,
couple. We have a couple of interventions from
it's
the
quite
audience.
orthogonal to our problem. I
Just
think.
to let them intervene. Yeah, there.
I just wanted to make a comment on the part where
Privacy.
she made this one. Like if the government is corrupted, that I think that would become even more worse if there is no robot and if the people are doing the job, because if you write people, it's more easier. The robot, if the law has been put inside it, it will not act as a corrupted thing.
Yeah, it's pretty much balanced, I would say.
We are not excluding robots completely.
Yeah, that's what we said. We're not excluding them. We're just want people to have a choice in this.
But if the government is corrupted, there is only one company like who's controlling robots, so they can use robots against the
That's even more worse
when
than
they are
having a
basically.
person, right? A person you can go and drive, and not just one person, multiple persons can go and drive the person, and when it's more worse, I think.
You have a question?
Yes, but how people that would lose their job could maybe help these machines to better understand and try to make some more difficult decisions, as the one he was saying about the park.
Yeah, of
It
course.
could be a compromise actually.
But they don't
They
have
wouldn't lose
a
it.
background for this. Like, I mean, the police officer, he's not trained to this. He's just trained to, I don't know, to go on the street and actually be in the police officer, not to train and maintain the robot.
We are
That's the
could be as a consultant from that situations where the machine could be.
We are forgetting the point that we are losing our privacy and we are giving data to the third company, so they can use anyway. And like, if somebody is watching me, I can be like, I would not behave normally. I would feel like, okay, I am being watched, so I will I would say like innovation and scientists and creativity. Like I always try to follow the pattern and the rules. Okay, so like if I want to think about out of the box, I will be afraid of that. So we are talking about giving away our privacy against the robocops. That is, we already discussed that that the fact that we are only targeting organized crimes. Okay, so individual crime will still be there. They are organized crime. We are targeting only on that point by giving away our privacy, not only to the government but also to the third-party companies. They can use like any way they want. There are like so many possibilities we have discussed earlier. So I think there is no point to give away our privacy.
Perfect. Okay, then and then.
I think you are emphasize the importance of privacy to yourself. Yeah, but I want to ask, if there is no security, how you can guarantee your privacy?
We're not saying no security, we're saying let's compromise. For example, let's leave half of the police officers.
Yeah, so we didn't say you don't have privacy at all, right?
You said that let's have only robots, and we say let's compromise. Let's give people an opportunity to choose.
According to the critical mind works, that our system will compromise the humanity or something like that, because the system that we propose is just exploiting or hacking some kind of human rights. Okay. Let's say I have a right. Okay, I will kill Sweden. So
that's not your right.
No, let me explain my idea. According to my vision, it's a human right. I'm doing what I need to do, what I have to do. So according to my vision, it's a human right, but according to the law, it's not. Because there is law that guarantees...
Human rights are
human rights.
There are definition of human rights that are accepted by all the world.
I'm just giving an example about the human rights or the freedom to choose. Let me correct my words. The freedom to choose. Yeah. Okay.
That's okay. That's also being.
Let me say something. According to the laws, killing my friend or killing another person is prohibited. Why? Because I just put my friend's safety in danger. Okay? So, according to the system let me link the idea that I have with the systems that we have. As the professor said in the introduction, we are in 2050. That means we have all of the sciences that we need to judge who's the criminal and who's not. Okay? So according to the AI, machine learning, something like that, we will actually, the reason of creating these things is just to make the machine near to the human's behavior. Let me continue. Near to the human's behavior. So let me link the other thing with this thing, which is Anna said that we will lose opportunities to work or something like that. I have two factors. The factor number one, each worker has an age to work. The other thing, that the existing persons who are working in the police station or in the judgment places, they will be like a consultants for the companies. They will be like a consultants from the companies to do their job well, to enhance the systems. So we will not lose any opportunities, we will not lose any worker, because we are going to put the police Robocop as in a place of police people.
Yes. Okay.
So, can I answer
I
now?
think you made your point.
Okay. So at this point, I mean, you said that we agree with you that your system is perfect. Like Robocops work perfectly. They can stop crimes, not individual, but okay, organized. We agree with that point. We like your system, but the problem is the cost that we are giving away. Like you just for money, you are selling our data. You can come up with some other idea. You are politics. Their politics. They can find funding and everything. You are giving away our privacy. That is like we care a lot about, and there are so many talks in the history. So many things have happened because of privacy. So we agree with that point that your system is perfect. You can implement that, but giving away our privacy to some third companies and also to the Robocops in some manner is not okay with us.
Yeah,
so
you
this
can
is our
find
argument.
sources of funding.
You are talking
That's
about
the
your
point.
system is perfect and everything. We agree that.
Okay.
I would like to say something.
No, wait. I think we are finished the time. So No, wait, no. So, both of the group can prepare the last statements. Meanwhile, I will ask to you, as the other day, as last week, about what about how the battle went. So, at the beginning, you were more on privacy or security? Raise your hand. I mean,
yeah, but you give it two choices and they don't know.
You give the privacy and security.
They don't know.
Yeah, okay, yeah. I will now. Okay, people and at the beginning of the battle.
At the beginning.
Okay. Security. And now someone changed their mind. Their mind. So people again.
Their mind.
Who changed their mind from the beginning of the battle?
Yeah, that's the three.
Okay. Okay. So I think there is, at least from the class, a lot of privacy than security as the main part. Okay. Okay. So.
At the beginning were for privacy, and so even most of them that changed their mind, changed it from privacy to security.
Do you want to be the first? Do you want to be the first for the last statement?
We begin the presentation maybe.
Okay. Okay. So.
First of all, it almost looked like the debate isn't security versus privacy anymore, but it's almost become liberty versus control. What we are still standing for is that we need to preserve the right to choose and the right to privacy without getting into some destroying of these human rights. We are not saying that the system doesn't work. We approve it. We are constantly saying that we are willing to go into compromise. We are willing to go into compromise to preserve the human rights mentioned before. We are willing to speak about together new ways to find the funding for this project. And we are saying that we are willing to make people, police, human police, and Robocops working together. And what I got from it is that you just do not agree with anything of this, and just want to completely replace the actual system with Robocops and give up our privacy to a private company which can do anything they want with the data, and by taking away from the people the right to choose and the right to live a private life. And that's all for me. Thanks for being here.
Conclusion part is, Alex said it's about liberty versus control. So I want to say we are not controlling anything, we are just enforcing the law. So we are just enforcing the law. So what I can say is, from security perspective, privacy will add more value if security is there. So security is again bounded to privacy. So if you have a data with you, so without having a proper security, right? So it doesn't have a meaning. So that's one thing. And the other thing is, even if a company gets the data, it should follow the compliance. It should follow some rules and regulations without misusing the data. For example, even the data companies, banks are having your data. So bank has some policies. So we should not expose the data or something like that. So each organization, even though they have the access for the data, right? They have certain compliance to follow. That's one thing. And so Robocops not only have the ability to enforce the law, but still it treats everyone equally. So without any distinguish or without any bribery, whatever the case, it has a single law enforcing across society. I can say. Yeah, that's fine. And the value thing is, it has an extra value to society. So it's most important.
Thank you. Thanks to the two groups. Good job. Well done. And now, obviously, the winner will be announced in 2 weeks because next week there is no class. So we will see for the 6th of November with the full class, and we will continue. I think the next class will be about product development and user-centered design. Milena will do the class. And so for the people of the 4th battle, please stay here. Then we will go to the room upstairs. Also, critical minds if you can.